Welcome back to your new favorite Love is Blind recap. Today, we're going to be talking about Love is Blind like you have been watching it, episode 7 through 9. My name is Nicole Hernandez, and I have my friend here today, Danielle, also known as It's Your Girl D. Hey, Danielle.
Hey, friend.
Are you all caught up? Episode 7 through 9, obviously, because we're about to recap.
Yeah, I'm all caught up and I am very excited to talk about these next 3 episodes that just dropped.
Now, after we last left off in Cabo, I didn't expect us to get straight to it, but I feel like these 3 episodes was a lot. We have the leaving Cabo, we have the meeting families, we have the seeing your place and looking at new houses, and then we see what everyone's favorite is always the people that didn't get picked in the pods all coming together. So a lot happened in these 3 episodes, way more than I feel like they normally put in 3 episodes.
Yeah, I feel like definitely these last 3 episodes, it was just like bam, bam, bam. We got straight to it. We got to do basically all the things in the short amount of time. So I feel like they got straight to the point with a lot of the couples as far as, you know, basically just getting further to the altar.
Because the promo is showing us they go to the altar.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know. Okay, let's start off with Annie and Nick.
Mm.
Because I felt like at the beginning of episode 7, it was like, we're so perfect. We're so perfect together. And by the time we get to the end of episode 9, it was like they did a full 360.
Yeah, I feel like by the end of episode 9, Annie and Nick are definitely starting to hit a bump in the road. I think Annie is starting to realize this isn't the perfect Barbie and Ken situation that she thought it was gonna be. Obviously, when everybody meets, things get messy. Things start to take a turn for a lot of people, and I feel like little things come out that obviously they didn't know. You know what I mean? Like they get picked, are gonna start spilling some tea about what they experienced and what the guys that they were dating, who got proposed. They're starting to spill some things, and Annie did not love what she heard about Nick. And I feel like at some point that was going to come out. She was going to find out that Nick told Kate that he loved her, and he didn't.
Which is like such a wild thing. And Nick tries to play it off like, oh yeah, like I totally told Annie that I told Kate that I loved her. And and I loved that towards the end of episode 9, the guys start Joe drinking Joe. Joe need to stop drinking because he just started telling all the tea. Like, basically, we do not like Nick. Like, period, point blank. Even Edmund was very much like, Brandon's our guy. Nick needs to go. They full on start telling on Nick about his love bombing.
Yes.
Like, that was wild that it's really the guy spilling the tea. And then now when everyone finally met up at the end, it was interesting to see who was still actually friends. Like, Madison and Kate are locked in.
Locked in like BFFs for life.
And with Madison dating Joe, and Joe is already messy, and he's telling Madison all the tea that the guys are saying about Nick. And then with it's so messy. Then with Madison telling Kate, and then the girls just finally letting Annie know, like, your guy's a love bomber, and there's a lot of people here that don't like him.
Yeah, I think it definitely was a game of telephone. Um, and everything got back to her in that situation, and she still tried to kind of play it off, but you could tell like she was like, "Oh my god, if this is true, like, I look like an idiot, and I'm over here in La La Land, and yet this guy somewhat played the game." And she's, gonna start questioning, I think, their relationship, their connection, and whether or not, like, how authentic I think Nick really is, which kinda sucks because when she looks back on everything, I mean, it's really it's gonna be a wake-up call for her for sure.
For sure. And the crazy thing about it is when she went to meet Nick's family, this was the tell-all for me. Nick's brother was real quiet.
Girl, let me just say, Nick's brother, the mountain man, Annie needs to be with.
Right, right. Exactly.
Real quiet. I don't know if you caught it, but I kept seeing him kinda, like, side eye Annie, like, he just kept giving her these quick glances like,
Run, girl.
"Girl,
Run to the mountain.
away from the mountains."
Yeah, away from the mountain. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Run away from the mountain because, um, yeah, and even you could tell by Nick's mom, she was very like, we love her, and we knew you would pick someone great, but she looks totally surprised.
Yeah, I think Nick's mom was like, "Wow, my son really went through this," and I'm sure she has some questions herself, and as they're just trying to be supportive, At the end of the day, they're just like, "All right, if this is it, then maybe this is it," you know? And in the past, it has worked for a lot of people, so I'm sure she's just praying. This is maybe an answered prayer, like, okay, my son found, you know, the woman of his dreams, and you know, am gonna get grandchildren out of him, and everything she wanted for her sons might really with him that she thought might not happen.
While we're on the subject of Nick, he did go on Instagram and address the allegations. And he's like, I do support, the LGBTQ, but I am not. And I love that community, but that's just like basically he did his own statement. So I just want to put that out there because we did mention it. But we're going to see. I feel like Annie is really all in. And I feel like she's really blind to the situation. And then she was not even phased when she saw Brendan. Like she was just like, nope, I picked the right person. And Brendan was like, he walked up all smooth. He thought like, oh, look, I'm about to show you. And she was like, immediately no. Like that kind of threw me for a hoop too.
Yeah, because I thought for sure she was gonna have some type of reaction, ooh, I mean, you were dating this guy, right? And like everyone else, there's some sort of reaction. She definitely had this like straight poker face, like, oh, cool, you're Brandon, like, okay.
Okay. So what?
Um, uh,
Okay. All right.
like, and I don't know how to read that because I
Yeah.
don't just putting on this face like I have to be like this person and act like he doesn't phase me, there's no feelings there still, I'm all about my man, and like she did what like should have, right? Just like I'm sure she expected Nick to be meeting Kate. I was really thinking that was just her mentality. Like, I'm gonna act how I want him to act. We chose each other. Every single time she's always confirming that she made the right pick. Even the conversation with Edmund and Cabo, she's just like, yeah, no, like I made the right choice. We're so perfect. And all this stuff so, but I I feel like deep down inside, she was dying. Like, damn,
Yeah. Completely dying on the inside.
yeah.
And she was really and because you just brought that up, she was really dying when Nick sat down with Kate too. That whole Nick was prepared, and like another cast member had mentioned, he was very calculated, and he got straight to his apology to Kate, and he was very much I never expected myself to fall in love with 2 people, and, I'm so sorry. Like, he knew exactly what to do, and Kate, she handled herself well because I think, for a lot of people, if they would've been put in that situation, they would have definitely could have gone into a full-blown argument and went left. Like, she definitely stood her ground and was like, "You told me you loved me," and then did a 360, like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. She handled it very well. Like you said, his apology was very much calculated. He knew, okay, he definitely practiced that in the mirror. Um,
Yeah.
okay, like figured the perfect timing to, pull her and have this conversation because he's like, I have to get this on camera. I gotta make make sure I make myself look good. But she did handle herself very well. I do have to give her that. I think she understood the situation and probably was like, after, seeing everybody face to face, especially him, was probably like, thank God I did not get engaged.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. I definitely think Kate was thinking, "Thank God.
Because I
Thank
feel
goodness."
as if Nick was her type,
Right.
a little more out there with the situation. She probably would have tried to go left a little bit, but I think seeing him and being like, oh, heck no. Like, thank God I did not choose you because, yeah, it really wouldn't have worked out. So just calling him out as she should, was like, look, this is what you said. This is what you told me. And he definitely just tried to play it off. But um, she definitely was, uh, she definitely was happy with her choice of
Yeah.
moving forward with him.
Okay, and then next up, I really wanna talk to you about, Allie and Anton.
Girl.
That they threw me for such a loop. Like, they definitely started off as the strongest couple, all this chemistry. She's like gorgeous, and he's like a hardworking, I think they really kind of kept their stuff together and was very calculated with spilling their own tea of their own relationship. And after Allie met his friends, sis was like, "You know what? I'm done." And you know what? I feel like with her, there were signs. Like when she would bring up stuff and he would switch the conversation, and she was like, that's odd. She was making mental notes. But when she went to dinner with Anton's best friend and his new girlfriend of 4 months that they moved in together, when she went to the bathroom, I'm so happy that producers kept their, um,
Un-
yeah, the mics on because boy, you could tell Allie was trying to get straight to it.
She definitely was trying to get as much information as she could. I feel like Anton, with him, he's very to himself. I know he's very much calculated. He knows what to say, what not to say. And I feel bad for Allie because it's like she's not really like seeing like the true him. I feel in their conversations, like you said, she does bring stuff up. He either changes the subject or he plays it down to the so much to where she like does that, okay, that's interesting. Let me just mental note this and keep a record of everything. And even when like they moved in together, like just the little things, and this, to some people could be big, some people, some people could be small, but for her, like even I think she started to see his like party boy tendencies
Yeah.
because granted, they have the night shift, right? They both work nights, so they get home, and first thing he wants to do is, like, have a mimosa with his like, she's like, "Okay, like, cool, sure, like, let me indulge in this," but then realize, "Well, let me take it easy on the champagne because I do have to go back to work." Um, she does have a more, like, laid back lifestyle, and so just noticing these things every morning, like, he's continuously having to wanna drink, like, in the morning, and for her, it's just a little off, so when they went to dinner with his friends and seeing how it was all about, like, "Oh, shots, shots, why haven't we taken shots yet?" And all this other stuff, and then the conversation that she had with the girlfriend really, I think, solidified, like, "Oh, he might be ready for this," because, like, you guys just got together 4 months ago.
Mhm.
At less than a year ago, he's been partying, going to strip clubs, like, living this, like, high bachelor single lifestyle, which, of course, like, teach their own. But you mean to tell me that you've made hold on.
No, okay, well, Danielle's dog is going to check her dog. But yeah, like Danielle was saying, Allie definitely feels like not that long ago, Anton was definitely living the bachelor life. He was definitely going out, drinking, doing all the things. And it does feel very odd that now he's like, "Oh, I'm all in." And the girlfriend, Anton's best friend's girlfriend, really was really nice of her actually to spill the tea and to actually share, like, yeah, this is what they do. They go out, they, do all the things. And that was actually really nice of her to just spill the tea on their friendship. That girl's like, I just got here and it's crazy, okay? Like, like, and his friend didn't look trustworthy at all.
Oh, his friend looked like he's still
Uh,
be going to, like, places he shouldn't be. Even the friend, like, the girlfriend, she even seemed kinda, like, weary, like, "Yeah, party all the time," and, again, we just got together 4 months ago, and so for Allie to be like, "There's no way that you can be ready for marriage, like, in 4 months," just, like, out of the blue, because where did we, like, change the lifestyle, slow down, because to her, he was still doing this actively, full force, living this partying lifestyle, like, 4 months ago.
right. And then even
Started taping the show so it could be even less.
Yeah, it could be even less. And what really told on itself, the best part, not the best part, because this obviously it's a show, but the craziest part was at the end of episode 9, and Anton says, how much are you telling, or how much have you shared? And she was like, what she said, like, the truth.
Yeah, she just said, "I just said the truth."
Yeah. What
Like,
he was like, ooh.
truth.
Yeah, like, what's the truth? But she does not like that whole going to the strip club thing all the time. So, and she did not like that she met his friends and not his family. She did not like that.
I thought that was interesting just altogether because out of all the couples, they're the only ones that didn't meet each other's family.
Yeah, that was odd.
Why is that? You know what I mean? Like, for her, um, you know, I guess depending on, like, her, her background and how traditional maybe her family is, but, but then for him, it's like we don't know anything about his family. Like, do they live here? Do they not live here? Like, we know at least enough about everyone else's family background, but for them, is that a factor in why they didn't meet each other's families? Or is it because he's still thinking, you know, this isn't really real. I'm not really going to marry this girl, so why am I going to drag my family into it? Um, but I'm just glad that she met the right friends and was able to get the information I think she needed to maybe start thinking more clearly about what decision she's going to make at the end of this, because I feel that if he kept the if he kept them in this like perfect little bubble, um then she might have said yes, but then I feel like at the end, like, he might have switched up on her and told her no at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely seem like he's definitely hiding something, and she definitely seems like I don't know. That's good. That's for me. That's going to be really interesting to see what happens because somebody mentioned that she, um, somebody mentioned that you could tell that she is the first baddie he's ever dated, and I was like, for sure, for
Yeah,
sure.
and, I mean, she's got a good head on her shoulders, like, I think their lifestyles, aren't really gonna be aligned, because especially when she mentioned, like, "Hey, I'm gonna start school, and
Yeah,
this is how last time I was in school went, and I kinda wanna live the same way, like, I don't
yeah,
want I don't wanna work, I just wanna focus on school and getting Botox," and he's kinda like, um, "Yeah, we'll try to see if we could budget that in."
yeah. We'll see if we'll see if we can do that or not. And she's like, no, this is what I do. Like this is there's no seeing. This is expected. This is what I'm actually doing. So that's gonna be interesting to see what happens with that. Okay, next couple. Sparkle, Megan, and Jordan. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Her family, first of all. And this whole her sister saying, "I had a dream and dad told me, you know, this guy would have a son," and dad just kept saying, "He's just like me. He's just like me." I'm like, "You guys are grieving
Yeah.
big time. You guys are grieving big time." And and then for them to have lunch on the day that the dad had passed and let's record that lunch. I'm like, "You guys, this is not, this is not healthy." And Jordan, you shouldn't have to fake who you are. You should get to just be yourself. Like you should get to just be yourself. Like I feel like he's having to put on a performance like of a I don't know, like, I just feel like he's having to put on a performance and not be his authentic self.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad to see, like, Jordan definitely is trying to figure out how he fits in with Megan. Um, I as sad as it is, I do feel like they Megan just continues to push this narrative about her dad. It's like which, in a lot of senses, in a lot of ways, that could be a thing, but I feel like even to the point where it's like bleeding into the family. And like you said, they did their meet and greet like on the anniversary of his death. The sister brought up the fact that she had this dream about him saying, like, he's just like me, he's just like me. And then bringing up, the dad again and how, like, when he met like the mom and all this and that, and it's like that's all they have to go on, and they're holding on to that so hard that you can visibly tell that family is still grieving the loss of, this man. And a lot of times you take all these signs, which some are legit signs, but a lot of the time it's just them trying to make sense of something. And I feel like at the end of the day, like, I truly don't think that, like, Sparkle, Megan, and Jordan are compatible enough to this work, you
Yeah.
know? do love them together, and I love the fact that they're really trying to, like, figure this out, but I don't think in the end it's longevity-wise, it's a forever thing. I think they just, would be great friends, but their lifestyles are just so far right, far left on the spectrum that especially the financial aspect of it when they were looking at this like $2 million home.
Yeah, that was wild. You could just see, like, my husband walked in and he knows nothing about the show, and he's just like, his ego right now is really hurting. Like, his ego is, like, really hurting, like, trying to keep it all together while walking through this $2 million home. I think for him, he really understands that happiness doesn't come from wealth, that, like, happiness, like, especially dealing with a child that has an immune situation, like, he understands, like, happiness and money, like, that can all be gone, that the real joy is, like, living in your authentic self and, like, enjoying life, and, like, even when he was trying to explain to Megan, like, my son will enjoy a $1 toy equally as a $100 toy, like, there's no amount that's gonna just automatically make a child happy. And when they went through that $2 million home, he was just like, "This is a lot of square footage. Like, why do we need all of this?" Like, he completely was not understanding that at all. And when Sparkle Megan was like, "Well, I'll just sell my $1.5 million home, and then our mortgage would only be 500,000." Like,
We'll just get a loan for the, 500,000 that's left and like da 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 and we'll figure it out. And I feel like, granted, she's been blessed to be in a situation to where walking through $1 million homes is normal. Like this is a lifestyle that she built for herself. And, with him, like I mentioned before, if he's cool with, hey, you're the breadwinner, you're gonna, just support us and we'll figure it out that way, then it might work. But I feel like at the end of the day, deep down inside, like he's used to being like the breadwinner. He's used to being the provider or being able to provide 50-50 because he take into consideration like how much he actually makes, how much his ex-wife, how much, these medical bills are costing him. I mean, even when they walked through his place, like it's a one bedroom. He turned it into like a one bedroom studio, which good for him. I'm asleep in the living room. That's my room and my son gets the bedroom and this is how we've been able to like make it work, seeing this house and how Megan's just was so easily like, oh yeah this and oh yeah that and like da 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 and this is what we'll do. And he's like, well, wait a minute, I'm gonna be real and be like, I can only afford probably nothing and I'm
yeah.
not gonna contribute much. And so having the conversation did applaud him for basically reminding Megan, like, it's not about the finer things in life. My kid and me, I think he was also trying to tell her, like, we're very simple. We live a very life. It's not like basically don't try to buy my kid. You don't have to do
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
whatever he wants. And I understand that she's stepping into this role of a possible stepmom, but I think she's overthinking it and just taking it a little too far as like, well, I gotta have his room and almost like having that like I'm the mother mentality, which is great because what single parent wouldn't want that, right? Like someone to love and care and think about their child as their own. But I feel like she's just overcompensating because she doesn't know what to do. And this is so fast and they're trying to figure out what this looks like. What's her role? what lane does she create for herself? And I think if they had more time, she'd be able to ease into figuring it out a little bit easier. Um, you know, this unfortunately is non-traditional, so it's almost like she's gotta, like, speed this up, and it's like, "Girl, you don't have to try to buy this home for you guys just yet," you know? Wait
Right.
till after you guys actually get married and sit down and be like, "Okay, now we can take our time and lay out the plan and look at our finances and find a middle ground." You know, you find this 2,000,000 six-bedroom home. Let's start with maybe like a four-bedroom that's more in his budget so that he can feel like, hey, I still want to contribute and this is, how we're going to do things, and not think like, oh, I got to buy his kid the best Lego set or whatever so that he can accept me and, feel comfortable with me. Like, no, it takes a little bit more time because all the shiny stuff is going to go away. And when it get hard, that's where Luca's truly gonna see and be tested in that relationship, and that's gonna hold weight over the Lego stuff.
And you know what? I think for Sparkle Megan, I think she's like, well, why wouldn't you want the finer things? You want to live like this? Like, why live like this when we could go live in this 2 million square home? Like, what are you talking about? Like, Sparkle Megan does not understand why Jordan doesn't get it. He's like, but like Jordan said, he's like, I just feel like I'm a mooch. I feel like, I feel like if she takes care of everything that I'm mooching off of her, and I know I shouldn't feel that way, but it just is what it is. And when Sparkle Megan went to the whole meet and greet and she met Mike, Sparkle Megan, she sat there and the brain was thinking and she was like, well, our lives do match up. Our finances do match up. Our travel does match up. Girl, your whole life matches up. But she was like, but, when I leave for the weekend, I don't want to feel like you could be back home cheating on me. And he really took that like, well, dang, you think I'm the type of guy that's just gonna cheat? And I'm like, "Well, Mike, I don't know. We don't know, Mike."
Like, you are Mike,
Yeah, Mike, you might. I don't know.
and act like we're all innocent, but at the same time, if Mike is truly in a place where, like, I want to settle down, he's now in a place where I'm cool off the playboy bachelor lifestyle. The fact that he was a little taken back was like, okay, was like, girl, like, if I was with you, I would not, like, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't chance that. And I think that from their conversation, that was kind of the only thing that she could come up with that was like, well, it wouldn't work out because I would just maybe think this would happen if when I go out of town. But at the same time, I did feel like she was kind of like, damn.
Yeah.
At
She
one
definitely was think she definitely you could tell she definitely had a lot to think about. And I kind of feel like even Jordan will kind of feel like, you know what, you might be better off with Mike.
Yeah.
Like to an extent, I kind of feel like Jordan would be like, look at Sparkle Megan. I like you. I love you. I think you're great. But, I don't quite think that this is going to work. And I do feel like Jordan's one of the few mature people on the cast that would be like, you know what? I'm going to work. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like he's definitely after that night, he has a lot to think about and might come to the realization of we're just not compatible enough to move forward because again, they have to take into consideration like they had the conversation of like, are you guys, you know, gonna trial run living with Luca, and she was like, "Well, we decided not to because out of respect for the mom, we're not gonna have him on camera." But she has no idea what she's signing up for when it comes to that, and not only moving in and living with a child, but at the same time, like, this child has, um, you know, medical needs that she's, gotta take into consideration, so, um, her conversation with Mike, I think, if I'm sure Jordan peaked and definitely was watching their body language, and I I could even tell there was definitely something still there. And even when he kinda, like, asked her about Jordan, like, basically, like, you know, "Do you make the right decision?" She got that smirk, it was like, "Yeah, yeah." And just ha off, but I do feel like Jordan is gonna think deep down inside, and if he decides to say no at the altar, um, I feel like Mike won't be, like, the definitive reason, but I feel like they're comparing themselves now to.
And let's not forget that Jordan was married before. Jordan has gone through divorce. Jordan went ahead and got a vasectomy.
Yeah.
And Jordan went ahead and said, his child's mother would probably call him, like, would probably tell her that he's like, what did she say? Like, he's like, what are you doing with this guy? That was his quotes of how he felt his ex would talk about him. So Jordan, eh, like, Jordan's already been through divorce. Jordan has gone through marriage, and I don't think Jordan probably wants to do that again. That's my thing.
Yeah, no, especially now bringing someone into, like, his son's life, it's like you're not only have to deal with your own feelings of the breakup, but, you gotta consider, like, your child's feelings and what that's gonna do, and
It's
so
a mess.
it's a mess, he has a lot to think about, and I just hope that they come to the realization of what's best for all parties involved and really dig deep and just to figure it
Like,
out.
please, please dig deep. Okay. Next, let's talk about Joe and Madison.
Oh, yes.
Is Madison bipolar?
I feel like Madison is the type that she is over emotional.
Yeah.
Feel like maybe her that's her way of crying out for help, for attention. She definitely plays the victim card in their arguments, which granted, I would be just as upset with Joe in all of these situations, in Mexico. They showed them still arguing from that night. And I mean, look, Madison was like, I'm just gonna create this, like, drama per se. I'm gonna go cry out in the 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 back. "Oh, what are you crying? Like, what's going on?" And she's like, "Yeah, you hear me crying and you don't come out and check on me?" Like, coming down from whatever's in his system. He is still trying to figure out what day of the week it is.
Exactly.
No, like, fighting, and I'm just gonna say fighting because they were fighting. Fighting with a drunk or,
Right.
intoxicated, it's just it's just not a good situation. No matter how hard you try, how loud she cried, he was not gonna care. He was not gonna handle that situation well at all, and even in the future conversations that they had, it's always the same thing. Like she just like builds up this drama with him, and she just wants him to pity her or have so much empathy for her that you don't care.
Yeah, he's like, "Girl, what are you crying about? Like, this feels so unnecessary." And when they all went to meet with his family, all I could think was his sisters are really trying to figure out, like, who is this girl? What is going on? Like, his sisters and his mom, and even the dad, they were all trying to be like, okay, what's your deal? And it felt like Madison was being like putting on a show. Like she definitely had her representative there, but I was just thinking to myself, girl, you don't I don't I don't know. And you could tell Joe, I feel like the sisters could tell that Joe was very unsure because Joe's face never looks like he knows for sure. Like Joe's face just looks like, yeah, we're getting to know each other. Wait, say that again?
I said his face looks like he's being held hostage. Like Joe is never happy unless he's with the boys and drink,
Yeah.
you know? I feel so bad because it's like, I don't understand if Madison is just that desperate because she's ignoring the red flags. He is the one who is like waving the red flags, like, here you go, hello. And she's just like, oh, thanks so much. Oh my God, you're mad because I'm just so into you. It's like, oh, girl, when you start saying those lines, it's a wrap. It's a
It's
wrap.
awful.
Call it a day. Just pack your bags, find yourself another good Denver boy. Like, Joe is not the one. He hasn't been the one since day one. I loved how when they were like, asking how the reveal went, and she was like, "Yeah, I was just so like, excited." And then Joe was just like, "A deer in headlights," thinking, "Oh damn, I'm messed up," I don't know what to do.
Yeah, Joe was definitely yeah, when she said he was like a deer in headlights, that was a automatic flag to his family like, "Oh, he was surprised. He was very surprised by meeting you, okay?
Yeah.
And he didn't expect you to look like that. He thought you were going to look like I don't think he ever envisioned what you look like actually. I don't know.
When she was this cute skinny mini, she came out to be curvy. He just couldn't get past that. And it's like, you know, she's a beautiful girl. And I know that if he wasn't so self absorbed, he would be able to get past that because it's like, at the end of the day, why did you choose her of all the girls in the pods to actually get engaged and, move forward in this process? Like, if you were just unsure, like, there was something about her to have made you wanna be with her, right? And see her, and unfortunately, look, love is not blind for everybody, and that's okay. Joe, just admit it, be true to yourself, be true to this girl, like, save her from her misery because he is gonna be the one to make her look like such a fool
Yeah.
after. And, she just needs to wake up because every argument they have, I feel like it's the same thing. He's delusional. He doesn't know what's going on, what she's mad about, and then turns around and apologizes, but it's the same thing. It's they fight, he doesn't know why, but then he apologizes regardless. And this is so classic toxic that you guys just aren't aligned. And then, I did make a note that with Joe, in one of the arguments in the apartment, Joe's looking for he's looking to validate his own doubts because when they got into that argument about like "Oh, I'm surprised, you don't really have doubts, or you're not really second guessing things, or, you're not having the feelings that I am." And then she turned around and was like, "Well, yeah, I keep telling you this is crazy. This is crazy." Uh, and yet he's like, "No, that's not what I mean." And then she gets upset because, then she turns it around and is like, "Well, sorry for in being all about you and being so into you. I'm sorry." And it's like, "No, girl, like, don't do that, because you're just going to continue to push him away, and you're just confirming whatever his thoughts are, and as to why he is going to use as an excuse to not marry you." But I feel like Joe definitely is looking for validation in doubt, his doubts and his feelings of, we're just not the one for each other, and she's not reading the sign.
She's not reading the signs at all, and it's gonna be interesting on which excuse is the one that breaks the camel's back. I definitely think that her next or not her maybe not her next, but towards the end, that last emotional blow up that she does, he's gonna be like, girl, I'm not running to sorry this time. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm packing my bags. We should just call it a day.
Yeah, called it. And okay, and last but not least, we have to talk about Edmund and KB. Oh man. Oh, KB just wants to be on the show. Clearly, she just wants to stay on the show. And she's like, I'm already here. I might as well get my 5 minutes of fame.
Yeah,
And Edmund can feel the energy is not there. And meeting the mom, I felt like the mom was whatever. And KB definitely put on a show and like did the we're so happy to be together thing. But she gets triggered. Like when they were all at the meetup and when he said, "Oh, like that's so great, you say he's perfect," and he's like, "No, I'm not, but you still say he's perfect. Like that's a very nice thing." I personally didn't find anything wrong with his commentary. Like, "Oh, okay, yeah, like that is a nice thing to say to somebody." Like, okay, like there was nothing wrong. I didn't find anything wrong with that. And she was like, "Well, are you comparing people?" Like she was so triggered. Like, don't embarrass me. You're obviously not cute. You're obviously not my type. Don't embarrass me on this show. Okay, that's what it was giving. Do not embarrass me on this show. And I just told you yesterday, like a teacher, I just told you yesterday, I appreciated you. Yeah, I gave you a gold sticker.
definitely gets triggered by him a lot, which I don't understand, like,
Either.
to handle, the situation, and like to pull him off to the side and have this whole like argument and make him feel like worse than he probably already does, which granted, like, Edmund is so, like, he's just so everywhere emotionally, and I think that when KB gets triggered, it throws him into a spiral, and then both like spiraling. But she's definitely trying to be like, I have to look like the better one in this situation, and whatever she's either mad about or maybe self-doubting, um, really showed and comes out. I think it's like, why are you being triggered so hard by this man? Which granted are small things, and she could easily just have saved a lot of this for when they got back home. That caused a scene when you guys are all with everyone else, like,
Weird.
and it was too much.
And then she called him weird. Then she was like, "You're being weird."
Weird. It's like, no, first of all, you both are, but like, why are you acting like this?
And then all he really had to say was, "Sorry, that wasn't my intention. I was just complimenting another couple, and that had nothing to do with our relationship. I was just complimenting the other couple. I'm sorry if that offended you." That was all he had to say.
And, like, that's okay, like you said, what he did was okay. He was applauding the fact that, like, "Oh, that's nice," and I mean, granted, Edmund is the type that needs a lot of validation,
Right.
and that, you know what I mean? So, if he did feel some type of way, um, and he was maybe projecting a little bit of, like, "Damn, I wish she would still tell me I'm perfect even when I say I'm not," then that's a conversation for you guys to have at a later time. But I mean, it's not like he didn't direct it at themselves. One, KB wasn't even like a part of the conversation, she overheard it and then like inserted herself. And all he did was give that couple kudos for just, I guess the validation that they're able to give each other in public. And she definitely took it the wrong way because he could have been like, "Oh, that's nice. Like, I never get that." Or, you know what I mean? But didn't. And KB I don't know if she was looking for something, but for her to
Oh,
go quick.
KB is making the list. KB is making the list of everything and reasons of why this is not going to work. Because we talk about the show now, the people's Instagram pop up on my algorithm, and I did come across Edmund's Instagram, and he does that classic run like on his Instagram. So like when they met and he ran away and to get the ring or whatever happened, he does that on his Instagram. So I think that's like his thing. Like he uses that, and within his realtor community, he's like the social media guy. Like, "Hey guys, like this is how you use social media and do social media." And like in his community, he's very much like, "Edmund's a ball of energy. Edmund's amazing to be around. Edmund is such a joy." Or like even like comments prior to him going on the show, "Edmund is just this and Edmund is that." And we love Edmund. Like he's that neighbor that everyone loves, that everybody talks to. Now, is he probably needs help self-regulating and maybe a little on the spectrum? Yes, but he deserves love too.
Yeah, and I don't think from what I saw the last couple episodes that KB is the one
No.
to, unfortunately, I would have loved that to work because they did have such deep conversations, and
Right.
as friends, we can continue to just be in each other's life. But I think Edmund needs someone who's gonna be his cheerleader. He
Yeah,
definitely.
you took the words right out of my mouth. He needs a cheerleader. He needs a full-blown Edmund's the best. We love Edmund. He wants one of those people in his community that already cheer him on as his wife.
Yes, and to feed into that energy that he has. He doesn't want to be, because of what he came from and how his life was for so long. He just wants to be happy, happy, happy all the time. And we've got to be happy, we've got to be grateful. And he's, larger than life personality. That's just who he is. And I feel like KB just her personality is not that, and I don't think she's in a place to be that person to embrace that. Because some people can embrace their partner's personality, right? But she d that's not her match. She needs more of the calm, macho, I'm someone up if they look at you wrong type guy, you
She needs
know?
Brendan.
She needs Brendan,
She needs Brendan. That that could work.
could
That
work. Yeah, but I I don't see them staying at the altar. The the meeting with this mom was sweet and endearing, and I'm sure, like, she's like, "Damn, like, I put my kids through so much, and this is what they've made out of their lives, and I'm just so proud and happy to just be a part of it." She's like, whatever partners they choose, like, that's just another win in her book, once they are able to reach those milestones in life. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I mean,
For everything that the mom went through, she like, even though you could tell she's been through a lot and she's obviously been through a lot, for her to just show up, show face, and like still come with a positive energy, that takes a lot for a person to do. And as we can see, Anton's family couldn't do it.
family hide, sir, you hiding your lifestyle. Anton's just giving me
Used car dealer.
a vibes because he is so mysterious that
Yeah.
Allie's like, who is this man?
Yeah. That's becoming creepy.
Yeah.
Well, last but not least, do you think anybody is going to say I do?
Girl, at this point,
They better not.
they all know what's good for themselves.
Exactly.
They should just have a conversation with each other and come to a mutual agreement that we are not going to say yes at the altar. We're
Right.
if if interested, we can maybe dibble dabble in a real life situations once cameras are off, but to be honest, no one should be saying yes at the altar because
Wait. We did not talk about Patrick and Annie rematching up. Okay, really, really quickly. Patrick and Anna matching back up. We should have talked about this way earlier. I can't believe I just forgot this right now. Patrick was pouring out his heart to Anna, and Anna was not feeling Patrick at all.
I feel like her ego was hurt. I think that because he was like, no, like, I'm trying to tell you, like, you were it, you were the one, like, I was laser focused on you. And she just kept bringing up and honing on the fact that he got engaged to someone else and he chose someone else. And
And
it's like,
he's like, that's the show. The producers want me to make it to the end. This is a show.
he wants to get married. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if if she was hoping that he would leave the show and run after her, because at that point, like, he was still exploring other connections. Like, you know what I mean? W- and I thought to myself, girl, there's no difference between as if he was previously engaged
Mhm.
a year ago
Mhm.
to, you know, you meeting him now and dating him. Just like Joe, Joe was previously engaged. Like, that's the thing. At your guys' age, honey, things do happen like that. And I feel like
Exactly.
just like she was, I don't know, she was mad about something. And I just feel like, girl, you're mad at the wrong person. Like, this was the experiment. Like, you left, you ghosted, like, no explanation. I think it'd be different if she had gone into the pod with him and said, "Hey, look, this is how I'm feeling. This is how I feel about you. This is how I feel about the experiment." And maybe they could have talked about, like, hey, if you want to see this through beyond, like, go ahead. If you feel like, if you feel as strongly as I feel about you and you want to leave the experiment with me, then so be it. Cause maybe it was from, why she left. It was just too much for her. And that's okay. Like, the real life, you know, the reality TV dating is just not for her. But for her to be upset at him for choosing someone else, I mean, when she sees everything back, I think she'll realize, when he said, she was my plan B, you know? Uh, and you can't fault him for not chasing after her, or like not getting engaged, because at the end of the day, like, you still hadn't seen him. You didn't know what he looked like. So, say if Casey was the right person for him, then that would have been a mistake on his end, leaving her for you. And then you'd be like, oh, actually, this isn't going to work out. I'm going to go back to my white guys. Like, you know?
Yeah.
And so I hope she can get past whatever it is she's feeling and really maybe give him a chance if she hasn't already tried dating Blake once they both left.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that next week we get an update on how all that goes, and I hope that Patrick doesn't give up on it, and or maybe I mean, I understand if he does give up on it, but I look forward to seeing how that all comes together. None of these people should get married, and and
No.
that's it.
Because
Exactly.
yeah, they're all a mess, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out for sure.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening to our recap, and we will see you next week. Bye. Wait, you have to say words.
Bye.
We're still getting used to it with the camera. It only picks you up when you talk. So, okay, anyways, bye, guys. You're all peace.
Yeah.